Welcome back, I'm Ryan from Bluewood Gaming, and today I am reviewing Killing Floor 2. Now, just a little heads up before we go into this. This is technically still an early access version. This is the November 16th update. The game comes out tomorrow on November 18th, so I think that they're not going to be changing that much between today and tomorrow, so I think that I can review this game now. So this is going to be split up into two parts. This first part where I go through the menus and talk about what I like and really dislike about the menus somewhat quickly. This shouldn't take any longer than 10 minutes. Then we can get into the rest of the review and I'll actually show off some gameplay. So let's just get right into what I like and what I don't like. So we got these tabs up here. I like 3 of these tabs, well 4 of these tabs technically if you count the home, but there's 2 right here, the store and inventory, I absolutely hate. So we're going to skip those 2 for just a second. Pretty much in the options, not really much to say besides they got pretty much everything in here. Want your game to look as good or not as good as you want to get a good frame rate? Well, then you can do that. NVIDIA Flex, if you happen to have an NVIDIA card, I don't, so I don't have it on. They have all that stuff, and thankfully they do have, back in here, they do have borderless display, which is good to see because that's been disappearing in a few games. Different audio sliders for everything. Please have push to talk on. Nobody wants to hear you all the time. Yeah, different audio sliders for everything, different stuff. I highly recommend having music vocals off and minimizing battle chatter as well, just because the characters like to talk a lot, and if you're talking with actual other people, then you might have to talk over the characters, and so you want to minimize that. And then the music in this game is mostly electronic music and industrial music, so you'd really want to have that off. Continuing on, controls, please don't use a controller for this. It works pretty fine, except the sensitivity is really off. It's low even for when I have it all the way up. It's really low, so I recommend using an actual keyboard and mouse for this, and it has all the settings that you'd want for this. Going down to gameplay, only thing in here that I really would like is the FOV. Instead of it having a percentage, I would rather it have an actual like number attached to it. It seems like this 125%, the widest that it can go, is somewhere about 90, where the lowest that it can go is somewhere around 60. So it really just depends on how low you want to go. And then gore, some people don't like gore, so yeah, that's where you change that. And then HUD scaling is something that you don't really see that often, so I'm glad that it's in here. And you can make the HUD very small when you go down. Then a whole wide of other options, even something for anti-motion sickness, which I don't suffer from motion sickness, so I don't have it on, and I don't really have anybody to test it on with, so I don't know how well it works, but it's good to see if they're at least making an effort. And you might want to go into these options and change some of the stuff around when you first get into the game. Then the final thing is credits, so pretty good options menu. Moving on, perks. This is all the perks that ship with the game. Just going a real quick rundown of them all. Berserk is your melee stuff. Commando is your basic assault rifle class. Support is pretty much your massive damage up close guy with shotguns. Field medic is exactly what it sounds like. You're healing your teammates. Demolitionist is explosions and pretty much area of effect damage. Firebug is the pretty much just flamethrowers and incinerary stuff, which it's something. Gunslinger, maybe the most unique and funnest class. Gunslinger is based around dual wielding a whole variety of pistols. Sharpshooter is your sniper, and then SWAT is essentially your MLG Pro COD player going around with submachine guns and shooting guys. So yeah, it's a good variety of things to do. And I actually, excuse me, I just realized I didn't even say what this game's really about for the people that have just stumbled across this video. If you don't know, seeing from the background, this is a zombie wave-based shooter. So yeah, that's what you're going to be doing with all that stuff. It's not player versus player. There is no player versus player. Going back here, it is only wave-based. Let's just go to this just to show you. Only game mode right now is survival. There's a wide variety of maps, and they're even letting in some player-created maps if you have them downloaded. I don't, so there can be more for you if you want to download them. But there's a wide variety of things, everything from Paris to some catacombs to out in the forest to in the Arctic. Then the difficulty, I normally play on hard. This is pretty much the normal way to go. These two harder ones, yes, they're Hell on Earth is extremely challenging, and then normal is pretty much for the beginners. And then most people are going to be playing on the long difficulty, which is 10 waves. That's going to take about 40 minutes to finish that. Finishing up here with the stuff that I like, all the characters. There's a wide variety of characters that there wasn't in the original game, and each of them have their own bio over here, and you can customize them to a pretty good degree, and you couldn't do any of that in the original without modding, so it's good to see it. The only thing that I don't like is some things, like this character, you have to own Chivalry. Another character, this guy, you have to own one of the other Tripwire games. But besides that, it's you can pretty much have access to almost all of them. I'll get to that here in a second. Now, moving on to the things that I dislike. This damn store. This thing sucks. Weapon skins. $10 for a weapon skin. $4 for a weapon skin. Really? Yeah, that's even on the marketplaces of even on the Steam marketplaces, gun camos go anywhere from 10 cents to I've seen up to $20, but it wouldn't surprise me if they went even higher. And you get them in these crates. Now you can unlock these crates just by playing, but to actually get an item out of it, you have to buy a key. I don't know of a way to get a key without buying it, so yeah, that kind of sucks. So it's $2.49 for a single skin. So yeah, that's pretty ridiculous for my taste. It's pretty ridiculous. Although, as you can see here with these two items, apparently you can get items outside of crates. They're just given to you. I don't exactly know how to cause it. I haven't played long enough to get more than these two items, and it really just seems random. Going back into the store, some of these things, like here, you can go through the market and actually see all the different weapon skins that you want, and it's pretty much the same thing as the weapon skins in Counter-Strike. So if you know that system, this is pretty much the same system. It even has this whole mint battle-tested and battle-scarred like degrading of the actual skin. Next, there's actual cosmetics. This stuff I'm completely fine with. If I'm also fine with the weapon skins because it is just skins. They're not holding back any weapons, so I'm completely fine with all this stuff. I just I don't think that it should really be that expensive. But if we look at Counter-Strike, there's some like $100 weapon skins. And here you can actually see all the different crates, and to open up all these crates you have to buy a key. So I just think that this whole thing's overpriced, but that's just my opinion. If you play Counter-Strike for a long time, you might not think that this stuff's expensive. I don't exactly know how Team Fortress 2 does their hats, but that might also be the same system. But yeah, let's just, now that I've gotten past the store, which thankfully is all cosmetics, now let's actually get into a game, and I will talk about all the rest of the stuff. So we got past all that stuff in the menu, so now we can actually go on to the meat of the game, which is this wave-based zombie shooting. Now I'm currently using the support class. Later on in this gameplay that you're seeing, if we get that far, I switch over to the SWAT class, which is the newest class that they've put in the recent update. But let's just get into the first thing, just the sound. I already talked about it ever so slightly in the menus. It's pretty much metal and electronic music. It's not to everybody's taste. That's pretty much the easiest way to put it. It's not to everybody's taste, and I know quite a few people who actually just turn the music off because they don't like it. I personally think it's very fitting. It gives this sense of, like, dread and a sense of dread and urgency is the best things that I can think. It kind of artificially makes you feel more amped up, and like this stuff's actually like getting close to getting you, even though you're probably in control of the situation. So I think the music fits very well. Moving on with the sound, the guns all sound they all sound somewhat unique and different, and they sound how you'd expect, but it's not just like stock sounds. I was surprised when each of the handguns had pretty unique sounds. Even if you're dual wielding two of the same gun, they will sound slightly different from each other. So the gun sounds overall are great. The voice acting is much improved from the first game. In the first game, it all kind of sounded phoned in, because at the time, Tripwire wasn't exactly a big company. Now that they're bigger, they actually got, it sounds like they got back the same voice actors from the first game for the returning characters, but they might have not. I haven't checked who does the voice work in this, but all the characters sound great. There's pretty much no sound in the game that's really out of place that I can think of. Just complete. I would give it like an A on the sound. There's just a few things like around the edges that maybe it maybe could do some work. It's mostly the only problems that I'll ever find with the sound are when there's either a lot of zombies all right near you. Their sounds can get a little mixed together, and then also when you're trying to run and jump around on some things that you shouldn't be, it kind of messes up a little bit. But moving on to the actual gameplay, pretty much it's pretty simple. Depending on what class you are, you use different sets of weapons to kill the zombies. I already talked about how you level up the different classes to get you more passive bonuses. The way that you level up each of the classes is you use weapons specific to each class, and in the first game they kind of messed it up a little bit, as no matter what weapon you were using, you only leveled up for whatever class you were using. So you could use, say, sniper rifles in the commando class and still level up the commando. Where in this game now, if you use, say, sniper rifles, you'll level up the sharpshooter perk instead of the actual commando. So you can pick up different weapons, and then you don't really have to worry about changing perks that much. The perks now are just kind of like what your passives are going to be in the game. You don't have to worry about actually having to play, say, don't have to worry about playing SWAT to actually level up SWAT, and that might sound kind of weird because you think that you want to play SWAT to level up SWAT, but just different classes you don't have to play. If you like the passives of another class, you can continue to play the class that you like while using weapons from another class. So I like the way that this system works. And continuing on with gameplay, I might as well explain some of the UI. It's all pretty intuitive, and you kind of guess what it means, and you're pretty much correct. Up on the top left, the trader is where you go in between rounds to buy new weapons, and that's the locator for that. Down below that, up on the top left, tells you what wave you're on and how many zombies are left in that wave. Which, speaking of that, it seems like they've reduced the number of zombies in a wave by something like 10 or 15%, maybe a little bit more. But I found that there's an increased frequency of the more dangerous zombies, like the ones that run around with chainsaws, and then the big fat ones that you'll see. They just kind of increase the rate of the more dangerous ones while decreasing the total number, because going into round 10, I believe you get something like 150 zombies in the round, and before it was over 200. But it was just a whole bunch of basic zombies back then. Continuing on with the UI, down on the bottom left, you have your experience bar for that, for the level that you're using on your class. Below that, in the very far bottom left, it tells you what class you are and what level the class is. Next to that is your health and armor. And the little red bar that you're seeing next to that, you can heal yourself up, and that is the refill timer on your healing item. Over on the bottom right, starting from the top going down, you have your currency, how much your carry weight is, because you can only carry so much. Then below that, the 9-volt battery symbol down in the far bottom, the red bar down over there, is a flashlight that you can use when you're going through some of the darker parts. It does run down over time, but it refills fairly quickly. You can use it for about, I'd guess, somewhere in the range of 30 seconds, 30 to 45 seconds, and it refills in a matter of maybe 10, 15. So it's there, but it's pretty okay for the reload time on that. It's not something super outrageous. Continuing on, you have the fire mode right next to the 9-volt battery. You'll see that switching around from 4 bullets is fully automatic, 3's burst fire, and 1 is semi-automatic, which is pretty, and you know what it means. Below that's your grenade count, and the next to that is how much ammo your current gun has. So it's a pretty simple UI. You pretty much know what everything is after playing for, I don't know, 2 minutes. You would know what it all means without really having any tutorial on what any of it means. Continuing on, let's do a little bit of the story. There's not really a story in this game. There is if you look for it, but it's mostly just the world had zombies happen, and now you're trying to survive it. And there's no real, from what I've found, there's no real like connecting overall story. Each of the characters do have a bit of what happened to them previously, but there's no real instance of, oh, this what happens on, say, the Paris map, which is what you're seeing, happens somewhere or sometime in relation to what happens on another map. There's not really just that, so it's just kind of light on story, which is perfectly fine for a game like this. Moving on to the graphics, this is actually one of the better optimized games that I've played. I've seen this thing run on non-gaming laptops at an acceptable frame rate if you put them down to low. If you see any stuttering in the video, it's not the actual game, it's just the recording. But most of the time, while recording on, it's currently my settings put this game somewhere between the high and ultra settings in the game, so that's kind of what you're seeing downscaled to 720 due to YouTube and compression and all that. So it looks better than what you're seeing. But while recording, I only get about 40 frames per second. But when I'm not recording, it is a constant 30 all the time. So no problem in the frame rate department. No problem in the graphics department. This is one of the better looking games. I actually think that this looks better than even the most recent Call of Duty. There's some things that you can find that might be a little bit lower quality, but those are usually things that are like located out on the map and hidden in spots that you normally wouldn't look. One of the things that this game actually kind of innovated on is it made a new system for blood in games where it would actually keep the blood stains throughout the entirety of the match. If you have gore all the way up, they do go away if you have gore turned down a little bit, which you can. I already showed that off in the options. But yeah, if you have the gore all the way up, this is like the only game that I know of that actually keeps blood for the whole length of the game, and it stays there. It's not like just artificially placed. It's actually where you shot all the guys. And you'll see in this footage, in this little section that my team keeps staying in, there is blood all over the place, and it just gets bloodier and bloodier as we go on. One little downside that I just remembered, all of the sights pretty much in the game have the same red dot reticule. It's kind of like this, you'll see it when I aim with this P90. It's kind of this red dot with a small red ring around it. Pretty much all the guns have the same dot and pattern to it. I wish that they would change it up in between guns and in between sights, but it's perfectly fine how it works now. So moving on to replay value, this game pretty much has the same replay value as someone that plays as say like Counter-Strike and Call of Duty Zombies. Actually, the best way that I would put this game is a full-length game of Call of Duty Zombies fixed to work like a full-length game instead of just how it is as a side game in Call of Duty. You're pretty much going to be playing on the... There's a wide variety of maps, but you'll be playing on the same maps over and over. You do get a variety of weapons, but if you're using the same class and trying to level up the same class, then you're going to be using some of the same weapons over and over again, and I realize that this isn't a game for everybody. Even I only play this game in some spurts of maybe an hour or two at a time, just because it gets slightly repetitive. But if you play games like Counter-Strike or Call of Duty Zombies pretty regularly, then this is right up your alley for replay value. So now let's go into my final thoughts on this. I personally really like this game. I played the original Killing Floor a ton, and this one is just an improved version minus the store, but it's cosmetic items. There's really not much that I dislike with the game besides the store, but I find the store to be acceptable because it is just cosmetic items. They don't hide anything behind paywalls. I don't know their DLC strategy for this game. The original game had community weapon packs that you could buy, but none of the weapons were things that you absolutely needed. It was pretty much just buy what you want, and you're fine without having everything. But so far they've released a whole bunch of pretty big updates to the game. So far, it's been 5 in the last year of it being in early access, and each of them added some pretty major things. I believe they all added a new class in each of them. So I don't know if they're going to continue doing these big free updates, or if they're actually going to start doing DLC items. As I said, I don't know how they're doing that, but whatever they do, it's probably going to be okay for DLC. Just continuing on with final thoughts, this is definitely a game that you're going to want to pick up if your friends have been irking to play the new Call of Duty Zombies, but you don't really want to buy Call of Duty again because it's kind of repetitive now. This game, with the amount of community support and community created maps, and there's Steam Workshop support, this is a game that you're going to get a lot of time out of. I have personally put in a little over 30 hours into it, which isn't that much for a year, but like I said, I only played in 1 to 2 hour spurts. So yeah, I personally really continue to love this game. It's definitely recommended if you have a group of friends that want to play it, but even like me, I just play it with randoms. It is still an amazing game, and there's quite a few people actually in the community of it that will go on with a mic and actually like give tactical talk and actually like communicate with the team. And this is one of the lesser how would I want to put it? It's a lesser toxic community than quite a few games have, and yeah, this game is definitely worth it for its asking price. I know that it's just now coming out on the consoles, or at least PlayStation, but it is definitely you should have already bought it if you're playing this on PC. So yeah, that's it for this review of Killing Floor 2. My next several videos are probably going to be a game playthrough. I'm thinking probably Xenoverse 2, but we'll see when we get there. As always, I'm Ryan from Bluewood Gaming, and I'll see you guys in the next one.